When anybody grows up in any locality, right, you develop the mindset of that locality. It's natural. Okay? Now, for those of us that are immigrants who came in from some other locality, when we grew up there, where we came from, we developed the mindset of that locality. Okay? Now, when we came here, unfortunately, we came with that mindset. But the mindset here is different. Right? The mindset. She was born here. She thinks differently than me. Right? I came with my mindset from Africa. But that mindset in Africa wasn't built for here. It's not going to function here. I will continue to see here as I see Africa. I will try my best to replicate Africa here. It doesn't work. It does not matter what you do. Cocoa will not grow here. It might go eventually in a greenhouse, but then I have to think about building a greenhouse. Two of us. But so trying to plant cocoa here, I'm wasting my time. So our mindset needs to shift. And I'm going to quickly speak on one or two areas where that mindset needs to shift. Majority of us, myself number one on the list, came in here thinking that things will be given to me. No, sir. Nobody's going to give you anything. If you want it, take it. Noah was never given the ark. He built it. You want an ark? You build one. Nobody's going to give it to you. So, if we want those structural barriers to be addressed, we have to go and address it. The next time we're having a Black History Month event and we have those policy makers in the room, we should sit them down and say, okay, we're not going to take pictures with you today. This and this and this are what we need you to address for us. We're coming to your office, let's settle a meeting. We need this addressed. That's the whole essence.
I started with that.
Yes.
Do we need to be taking pictures?
We don't need to be taking pictures. Enough of the optics. Yes. When we meet with them, this is our month, right? Come, okay? These are the things we want to discuss. We don't care about the optics anymore. We need to go take what we want. It will not be given to us. Hey, allow me to be so bold. May I?
Yes.
May I? Why do we need, quote unquote, somebody to tell me this is the theme of Black History Month?
Every day is Black History.
Why? This is no. I don't need you to tell me the theme, my theme. I will tell you my theme. It's mine. The day we begin to shift this mindset, the day we begin to empower ourselves. This is what Martin Luther was trying to preach for years. Emancipate yourself. Nobody's going to free us. Nobody's coming to help us. Nobody's coming to free us. We want it, we take it. It's as simple as that. Sorry, my brother, this may sound in opposition to what you've said. I do not bother myself about 13% tax or not. You know why? The billionaires in the world, it doesn't matter how much tax you put, they don't care.
They don't pay.
Because they don't pay. Good. So we know they don't. God bless you. We know they don't pay. So why should we be bothered about paying too? Why don't we become like them? They don't have two heads. Are you encouraging evasion? No, it's not evasion. No, it's not tax evasion. It's legal. What they do is not illegal. What they do is legal. And those are things that we do. Those are things that we are waiting for somebody to come and teach us and somebody to come and help us understand. Let me tell you how simple it is. They build a business, okay? They go and list that business on the stock exchange. They keep blasting news and updates of progress. Stock prices rise, they become billionaires. They're not billionaires in cash. They're not billionaires in bank accounts. They are billionaires because of the stocks and equity they own. And then they take those stocks and equity and they go to a bank and borrow a loan. You don't pay interest on loans. You don't pay the tax on loans. They live on loans all their life. That's how they live. That's how they buy private jets. It is based on loans taken against their stock equity. That's how. No, you will never find a billionaire that's a billionaire in cash. Nobody. So why are we talking about this? Because we're waiting for somebody, the government, to come and teach us this? No, sir. No. We've been crying about the things that we shouldn't be crying about. Sorry. It is time for us to take what we believe is ours. When I came to Canada, I had it super rough. Many people have heard my story. Okay? The banks will not even open a bank for me. Yeah, I had it super rough. The banks would not even open a bank account for me. When I finally managed to convince a bank to open a bank account for me, the credit card they gave me was $500 limit. Whereas that same bank, on the day they finally agreed to open it, the banker sold me GIC of over $25,000. Okay? My family funds at that day was over 6 figures, but my credit card was $500. The system wasn't going to work for me. I thought it was me, but alas, it was not. It's affecting every one of us because that system was never originally built for us. So guess what? I said, okay, I'm going to have to build mine. It's been 6 years coming, okay? But in November last year, we got what you refer to as a level 2 approval from the BOC, the Bank of Canada, to function like a bank, to hold deposits as banks would hold. So now we are 1 inch closer. In fact, on the strength of that, we now have the ability to issue bank accounts, void checks, the cards, and all of that. So the black community now has a financial institution to power and support them. Since then, sir, in the space of less than 6 months, we have issued loans to black businesses over $500,000. And a lot of people, I said, look, the time has come where we tell the government, this is $10 million, use it for grants.
Yes. Yes.
Enough of the begging on the table. Take 100 million, use it for grants. Go and apply. Tell people to apply, we will approve it.
Exactly.
We're not beggars.
Yeah.
Look at this room. Look at how intelligent we are. Look at how superb everybody is dressed and looking. Why are we begging? Why are we hoping that they would give us anything? No, sir. You want it?
They'll come for it.
You take it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You have the question?
Yes.
Question?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll be taking the last. I'll be taking the last round of questions. Okay. We just have a few minutes to go.
There was never a round of questions. One question, 45.
Yes.
But it was solid.
Yeah. Awesome. One more time, celebrate them, please. Okay, so before I take your question, and then we just take the final round, and then we bring this to a close. Let's take a music performance to just ease and have a little bit. Want to ask a question too? Okay. Okay, we'll get to that. 2 questions. Any other person has a question?
And can I elaborate on my question?
Okay, let's take from those that have not asked yet. Okay.
They will miss the point.
This guy then we close up.
Are you ready? So, okay. So we take a testimony or 2 as well. You good? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome. He's a music producer, an artist, a recording artist, and we are proud to have him here today to do a performance given to us. Ladies and gentlemen, join me welcome Baldwin Soft.
Somebody make some noise. I'm very happy to be here and I'll be listening to everybody. You know, I want to do a song that says just for 10 piece of silver. You know, we black community so that hard and conscious. We're supposed to be aiming for billions. We're going for 30 pieces of silver. So you sold your heart and conscience. Somebody make some noise. You follow money, you leave your peace.
yeah, the world is sign. Your heart they bleed, but you still they grow. You sell your soul, but you never know. Oh my brother, why you carry this love for your head now? Just for 30 pieces of silver, you sold your heart and conscience. Just for 30 pieces of silver, you went and sold your mind. Oh, why you do this to yourself now? Why you, oh, why you do this to yourself? Why you, you think I go set you free, but it just changed you spiritually. You close the hearts to the better way. You know, see love where they call your name. Your soul they cry, they find escape. Come back home, make a life be shade. Oh my sister, why you carry this love for your head now? Just for 30 pieces of silver, you sold your heart and conscience. Just for 30 pieces of silver, you went and sold your mind. Oh, why you do this to yourself now? Why you? Oh, why you do this to yourself? Why you? Why you? Just for 30 pieces of silver, you sold your heart and conscience. Just for 30 pieces of silver, you went and sold your mind. Oh, why you do this to yourself now? Why you? Why you? Oh, why you do this to yourself? Why you? Why you? Oh, why you do this to yourself now? Why you? Why you? Oh,
It's a question I'm asking. Why you do this to yourself? Somebody make some noise. Why you? Yes, why you? Why you? Why you do this to yourself?
All right, thank you, Godwin Sop. That was beautiful. Please, a round of applause for him one more time. Thank you. Okay, so we'll be bringing this section to a close very soon. So we'll take the questions we have. Possibly I'll have to delete mine and take the 3 questions we have. And we'll have you, so we'll take them just one after the other, and then we'll have you answer the questions. So let's start with
Can I have a
Chief?
question and a statement?
question. Okay, it's okay. So let's start with Chief. Chief, please. Come here.
So I want to address this question to my brother here. In your opening intro, you alluded to the fact, or I want to assume that people are not voting for party as ours because we have no credibility. We haven't showed the community what we can do. I don't know if I'm misinterpreting you, but that's pretty much what I get. And in some part, it makes sense. In a part, it makes sense. But would you say the government in power now has credibility? So I'll just give you one example about credibility. We have a finance minister that approved $24 billion for the Ukraine government. And she now is the advisor to the president of Ukraine. Is that credibility? So when we talk about credibility,
as I said, I'm not really accusing you that you're saying we don't have any credibility, but we have seen for 159 years, Canadians have been alternating between liberals and conservatives. And this is where we are. I'm living in this country, as I said numerous times, 34 years now. I'm an accountant by profession. I was at a place called JCA, and I was handing out my brochures. And a black woman, she said, look at him, want to be prime minister. But the prime minister at the time, the best job he had was a high school gym teacher. I'm an accountant, but she would vote for that guy. And that is our attitude, right?
Yeah, let me respond.
Let's just take the three questions. So you respond, and then we have
This one is directed to me.
Yeah.
So the other ones, I'm not sure they're directed to me.
Yeah. So thanks for that. And I don't know that much about your party. Actually, I was one of the conversations we've been having with a group of people is actually having like a predominantly black-owned party, where you go from, top to bottom. It's all, black people who are interested in politics. I'm not interested in politics, so I didn't bother to, deep dive to find out if there is one. But I'll be happy to see how we can collaborate because again, this is a very sensitive part of our growth as a people. Now, when we talk about black excellence, we all know the system isn't ideal. I don't think there's any ideal system. When I mean ideal, everything is working well. We talked about the Minister of Finance. We talked about even the different levels of government, of official office holders, right? But if we begin to look at it from that lens of, okay, these guys are not credible, then we're not going to get anywhere. We have to look at it from the angle of, and when I refer to your party, the people you bring into the party, you're going to have a process to vet them to make sure that these are guys that you can put out there, and people aren't going to hesitate and say, yes, we know this guy. And you don't have to show. Whatever interesting thing about our community, whatever you do, you don't have to come out and tell. People see it. I didn't know this guy from Adam. It was like I came into the city of Brampton. I was told about him. And we've been working out 3 years and counting. Just 3 years. And there are people, who have said a lot of things about him. And one guy that I can vouch for, if we have our way, we'll get him to compete in the next election. But that's up to him. But the point I'm trying to make here is that we have to go out there with the difference. We have to go out there because I felt I almost dropped in tears when I heard a woman here says she had to work 3 jobs. Why do we have to go through that? To be able to raise our kids. We don't have to. But the system, the barriers is pushing us to do these things. And as a result, as we go out there, we have to go out there with a difference. Whoever you're portraying, you're bringing out from your party has to be somebody with a difference. Somebody who has made, and I think that's the only way to qualify your candidates or whoever you're bringing out to represent us. It has to be somebody who has earned it, who has earned that reputation amongst us in the community, who has earned that credibility. Until you put that person out there, trust me, we've said it many times here, when the chips are down, we rally around. We know how to mobilize. And I'm sure you're going to get people to mobilize and come together to vote the right people into power.
But we're putting too much pressure on ourselves because, again, those guys that are out there have no credibility, but they're there and they're leading.
So you get my point that we cannot get, because again, that's the barrier we talk about, right? You walk into a boardroom full of these folks, and as the only black guy, you're going to be left on one side. It's up to you now to decide where you want to sit on that table. I've seen it happen to me most times. I walk into a room, a seat is left open. I don't know if it's a test or not. I pull out the seat, I sit in the front seat. And it starts with this little thing. So I hope I was able to answer your question. We can get it all right. So when we go out there, we go out with a difference.
You have to clear the table.
Yes.
Clear the table. Okay, so let's take an man, please. Don't worry.
Yes, I would touch on that. That's another forum where you're talking about, because I have so much to say about that part. But my question to Richard, because I believe even as you hear this, inspiration is very important. So I've known Richard for maybe 20 odd years, right? When I was in council, that's when we met. at that time, Richard was initiating youth project in Brampton that he was beyond his time, like Rising Star was a talent show that he had for many years, right? And I even heard that Drake was there at one point back in the day, yeah. And then after that, Richard started a 3-on-3 basketball summer tournament every year for young people right across the city, right? So my question really to you, because I admire you greatly and I've seen your growth and I've known many of your friends, many of the young people you've been always with. What kept you going and what is the mindset that drives you? Today you're an entrepreneur, not afraid to speak, and still pretty much a staple in our community. I just want to hear from you just very quickly. I know you could write a book about your story, but what really kept you going and what's the mindset?
All right. So thank you for asking that question. The answer is God. I just want to, channel God's energy. I pray all the time. I meditate all the time. What would Jesus do? Just have that service first mindset. Because we come and we go. So the time that we're here, it's like, okay, what contribution did we make while we're here? Right? And I'm sure everyone here is aligned the same kind of wave, and that's the vibe I get from you. Garnett Manning talking about us meeting. We didn't meet because I reached out to him, and I reached out to everyone I could. I was one of those reach out guys. I still am, but he reached out to me, and that's the one thing I'm like. I didn't know who he was. He came and said, "Hey, I seen this thing going on. This basketball tournament. How can I get involved?" So when you're a service first person. And people are always taken from you. When someone gives to you, you remember them, right? And that's the impression that Garnett Manning gave me from day one. So even when Patrick Brown was running for mayor, Candace invited me to come to the thing. But I'm like, yo, who's this guy here? But then as soon as I seen Garnett Manning in the room, I'm like, all right, cool, I'm on board. I didn't need to know anything else. But then after that, then I start to get to know Patrick Brown, and I'm like, okay, this guy's solid, right? But once I seen Garnett Manning there, it's a wrap, and that's why I if we're talking about rallying, I think Garnett Manning should run again as a counselor, and we all everyone back him because I think he's the one person that everyone will rally behind. I get it, I understand because I was part of the mayor campaign. And I seen him go in, I seen him give it his all, and I seen the amount of money that was spent. I seen all of that. And it was a lot, and I commend you for doing that, and we got amazing votes, right? But I think now we need to get him back in office, and at the Black History thing at the Rose Theater, the first Black PO officer, announced him on stage with the counselors on stage as Counselor Garnett Manning, and you heard me in the back. I was like, yeah, let them know what's going on. They're getting nervous, but honestly, I really think like if we're talking about rally and Carl, like what you're on, I support it 100%. The only thing I would say with what's going on, you're talking about Trudeau being a teacher, but he has that party behind him. That party holds a lot of weight. I get it, starting our own, and that's something that you'll build over time, right? But now I think we need to strategically get our people in position, and the easy route. And I think right now Garnett could definitely get there because everyone knows Garnett, and this is who he is. You know who he is. Like you said, I've known for over 20 years to know who he is. He's the person that I could go all out, all in for, and so I wanted to put that out. So yes, in terms of what drives me, definitely led by God, but I definitely feel that God's plan is for Garnett Manning to be in the office of Brampton again.
Not Brampton, come to Cooksville.
You want to say something? A question. Okay, so let me have Pastor. Let me have Pastor Simon first. Pastor Simon has a question,
and also
A quick statement.
quick statement. So okay, please help me pass it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. To the panelists, I do appreciate all you guys. Brilliant minds. I want you to put your hands together for these brilliant black minds. I struggle with my sister here. What's your name? Sorry. Candice. Because you make a statement about not having kings to represent your mentorship, and I'm applaud. Because I've seen a lot of black kings here right now. Yeah. So if you can connect with any one of us, I believe that, but the question I want to ask, what was the reason that you don't get any assistance? Because maybe if you can address it to us, then we probably might have a solution. Mr. Garnett is here, a very well-rounded gentleman. A statement I want to make for a comment. Yes, very highly respected.
Child in Brampton, you're coming to Cooksville.
Everyone, Mr. Garnett. We thank God for you, sir. A comment I want to make for us in this audience. We are strong together. I believe in collaboration because as blacks, we come from various backgrounds. You might hear black, but there is black Caribbean, there is black in Africans, there's different blacks. And I think for some reason we do not get along.
We're not connected.
I think we're all in the room right now.
We're doing, but just we are. We're not
One second.
That's another show.
I hear you saying
That's another show.
So what I'm talking about is collaboration.
Yeah.
Contribution.
What I'm talking about is collaboration.
Yes.
And what I'm talking about is influence. I hear my brother here talk about making that table. We need to be influential. How do we influence if we are not at the table? We can speak until we are blue in the face. Right, sir? I run for the last election with this gentleman here. Was not successful, but it was a great experience. That in as much I will run again. Why? Because I see a need when I sit in an audience and hear the only black speaker for the House said that there's only 9 MPs. 9 MPs. Back then, in the Parliament, I was applauded. I was floored to know that we have so much of money that we spend. We spend money. Black people spend a lot of money. But yet, we do not have the representative at the right place and the influence to influence our culture. The next thing I want to talk about, not just influence, but visibility.
Correct.
Visibility. We need, like for instance, you have a program. I have no clue about the program. How do we get visibility for our community? Because if we look at the Indians, they are visible in their community.
Yes.
They know exactly what's going on in their community. Wow, albeit we do not know what is going on in our community until there's a platform like this.
And if you're in with the nose, that's how you.
Oh, there we go. And if you're in with the nose.
Yeah.
So what I would suggest is that we talk about from the nation building to visionaries. This is the vision. The vision start here. I heard my brother said it start now. It start with us. Right in this room, we can network and we can make a difference. I believe it. I believe that we do not have to murmur any longer because we have, my brother talked about AI, that can teach us many things now. So knowledge has increased. Scripture talk about it, I'm not preaching, but knowledge has increased. And I'm going to end here because my brother said, a pastor. Thank to respond to that question. What is it that is causing you not to have the support that you need as a queen that needs entitled needs good kings? All right, God bless you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, and thank you for addressing that and being open to like helping us with that. I can't speak to exactly why, personally, I don't know 100%, but I do know visibility is, as you mentioned, is absolutely a big thing. I think that in our community, it's like pockets and everyone's duplicating things, and a lot of us are not doing it together. So maybe in that corner there's, you know, there might be 5 men, and over here we need 20. So those are over there in that pocket and we don't know about them over here, or they don't know that the need is there. I think it's life, like the time, or they're busy working, or they don't have the energy or the ability to give towards that, unfortunately. Not to say that they don't want to do it. And then, you know, just kind of taking it to unfortunate past traumas, I think sometimes a lot of them don't really even know how to step into those feet, into those shoes in the first place, right? Like, how do you mentor someone when you weren't mentored, or you don't know where to start? So I think it's a combination of all of those things, and I think when I just know personally, when I'm putting the word out, when we are looking for people to get involved in the organization with the children, I have a plethora of phenomenal women, and I'm very blessed to have them. But if somebody comes and it's a male, he'll be around and then he'll kind of fall to the wayside. Or there'll be one gentleman and he'll kind of pop up. If we have a conversation, an interview, again, he'll fall to the wayside. Whereas women, you know, they're mothers, they're sisters, they're, you know, they're kind of playing the role that they always play anyways. Exactly. I didn't want to take that away from men too, but you know, we're kind of doing what we do, right? We're doing what we do, and so we're standing by. And if we have to push through the way we always do, that's what we're going to do. Whereas, you know, sometimes because that role has not been as positively defined as we need in our community, it's hard to give that back. So.
But then, let me just add something to what she just said. We also have the fact that we are constantly bombarded with being shut down as a people. But there are men who have stepped up.
Absolutely.
Take, for instance, he has stepped up. This brother said he stepped up. But how many times have our men been shut down in defense of our men? How many times have they stepped up and then been shut down? So then they become disenchanted. Because it comes like you're fighting a battle and you feel like you're fighting a losing battle. And then it gets back to my question, which we'll probably go over to the next show. Where do we go? How do we grow?
How do we grow?
Next show.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. One energy that is going out of this room is the fact that we need to collaborate more.
Absolutely.
We need to express that love for one another.
100%.
We need to see ourselves as people who have a common goal. It doesn't matter the different things we do. So that energy must be brought, and we all need to see ourselves as being brothers and sisters, first and foremost. My thing should be your thing. Your thing should be my thing.
Yeah, exactly.
The energy we are sending out here today is that there should be no more isolation.
Yeah, 100%.
When we come together, we are stronger.
And motivated.
We are stronger.
Yeah. And have the motivation.
It's not just a night of words, but it's a night of action.
Yes.
It's a night of decision. It's a night of precision. And I believe this is what we are agreeing here to. For example, the year just started, and we're already in February, coming to an end, right? And most times we all have clash programs that we cannot really encourage and partner with one another. But I think that mindset should change. When you see that this is what my brother is doing, I should choose a better date, because this is already there, and see how we can synergize. Because if we are not, numerically we are not strong as compared to, you understand? Sure. So, but our unity is stronger
So if we're able to unite and come together and stand tall for one another,
Yes.
then it means that we can conquer a lot of ground. But before I give you guys the last question, that question will be addressed. Yes, I'm coming to her. So it will be addressed to all of you. So it will be your closing remark or speech or whatever we choose to call it. But I would want you to use that opportunity to just, some of you have mentioned a few things that you do, right? But just use that opportunity to also knit one or two things together for us. I think just about 1-2 minutes max. This is Black Community Canada Television. There are not many. There are not many. If I ask, a good number of us, or few of us would have heard. But if I people have subscribed to Black Community Canada Television now, you will be shocked that 80% have not. 80%, if not 90%, have not.
Here lies the problem.
Black Community Canada Television
We need to get
organizes a huge talent show
We need to get to Roger.
in this city, which is the Brampton Rising Stars. We are going to season 3. Look at the winner for season 2. It's like the batch of great talent. Awesome. From season 1 to season 2, we have about not more than 10% participation from the Black community.
No.
And it's Black invention. I think we can do better than that.
But where was this like promoted? Marketed. I didn't come in my feed.
I never heard about it.
Not
I
once.
saw
And
you
so I saw
at
you on
Brampton.
Wednesday on that time when you
Yeah,
came
Brampton.
and you talked about it that day.
When
When we were all there, so that's another thing. Like,
She came in too. with
that's
the-
how
you had
like
cups,
if you
mugs.
yeah
Okay.
when you
You're
came
sitting right beside me.
you were sitting next to you. We were sitting next to
I'm
each
trying to
other.
remember.
Yeah.
We remember you, girl.
Yeah. We remember you.
So I think the idea is that we have faltered in several areas,
more
right?
aggressive marketing.
So we all need to have a
Drop it.
to begin strong and better. So we can collaborate better.
But how?
So,
But where? Where do we collaborate? This is my question.
Let me suggest
I
something.
think
we have we have a few marketing agencies in our community. I think we've had this conversation before, and it's, if you look at the way things flow, you have an amazing initiative, but you're in one sector of the huge community, right? So we need that channel, call it like a middleman position, who takes information like this,
To the community.
then take it to the community.
Because this is very
We
click
don't
based,
have
you
it.
guys.
Yeah.
A lot of
Very
time,
click. If
a
I'm not
lot
a
of time,
click, we
a
don't
lot of
know.
time, what you think people here are there, they don't know.
Yeah.
It's not there. You think
If
they're
Michael
there.
didn't post it, I didn't follow Michael
So
on
you
WhatsApp,
have-
I had no idea
yeah.
this was
Yeah,
going on.
The signing of the stars,
maybe
social
social
media
media
register.
I found it
So
on
we
full
need,
WhatsApp.
what we need,
Yeah, if we
Reverend
need
Blessing.
bigger social media
Yes,
influencers,
no,
social
it
media
won't work
runs the
that,
world.
it won't work that way.
because years ago I
Yeah.
wrote for the Caribbean Camera. I used to write a column,
Yeah.
and every week everybody's coming for the newspaper because I'm writing all the drama.
Yeah.
So we
For
need
people
to
like
get the
that.
people who are on top
Yes,
and
the
the
marketing
top
agencies,
influencers
you need to
to
bring
get them
first.
to push.
Yeah, like
our
who's in
agendas.
charge of our Black community to let us know what's going on?
Yeah.
Who's in
Yeah,
charge
right,
of letting
yeah,
us know
BCC,
where our
that's
sports
the
are going
photo.
on for our kids?
Yeah.
If a lot of our kids, I pay $12,000 a year for my kid to play baseball program. That's the beginning. That's the start to pay. So where does my kid in Canada,
Yeah.
my Black community,
Yeah.
help me so my son can get seen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Candace, we go to
That's
school
what we gotta
together.
do.
We did things together, meaning like our businesses or stuff. I had no idea you did what
we
you
need
did.
a forum.
I didn't even know
Can
you
I
did
just
what you
answer this
Okay.
question?
Let
Do
me-
you guys
let-
know
let-
that-
is that-
Wait,
you
wait,
asked
wait,
the question?
If anybody else goes
You did my question.
you
That's
guys
right.
know-
Go ahead.
Come on now. It's
Yeah,
good.
let him
It's
finish
straight
the
up.
question.
Do you guys know that Rogers, I trained with Rogers as well, and I did a couple programs with them. But Rogers offers this free.
Sorry, just a
And
little
they
bit from the camera.
also, sorry, they also offer a minimum paid program, whereas we can pay to feature this TV on one of their channels. So we can pay for a channel, We could go to Rogers and say, we want channel 767. They give us a channel,
They need
and
to do
everything that you do here will go through
Arabs
Rogers.
do it.
They also do
So
it
let's
free.
support this one here.
But if we have a big enough community and we write to Rogers and request it, we
Why?
make a request,
YouTube is there. You can
we
just
will
post on
get it.
YouTube. You don't need Rogers.
Okay?
Like,
A lot of
I'm
people
with
don't
you.
have cable.
I'm with you. So yeah,
I
nowadays,
have
honestly,
boxes.
cable is
Okay,
fizzling
can I
out.
say something?
Like,
Can
like,
I say something? It's okay. Like it's very good. Like I like it the fact that I assist on people that are looking forward to an opportunity like this. But I want to tell you that in this our community, for you to engage people, even
Yeah,
in our
engagement,
program,
yeah.
we are still working, making people convince them, making them understand what we are in for the community.
But you need
So
to change
that's
your
what
community
we
to
learn.
younger people. You
Yeah.
can't represent for 20-year-olds.
Okay, you're not getting me. What
Yeah.
I'm trying to say is that, you see, it's stage by stage. Creating, my brother talk about creating. It's another process entirely, right? Okay, when you go for election, you're looking for people to sponsor you. But there's no money. Why? It's not that they don't want to give, because we have not really created something that will give us money to back each other up. So now, you see how many people are able to put their life in the center of the scene just for everybody. It's just very few.
Yeah.
You understand? Just like I put myself in the center for. I don't take salary. I put my thing and I do everything. I carry everything. How many people will do that?
Yes, exactly.
So what I'm trying to say, there are few people. But what I'm trying to say, because I will not say ignorant, I will say everybody is looking for who will take the action. And don't forget the fact that the system is not that friendly. People are struggling, right?
Yeah.
So how many people will rise up? So instead of us doing the doing, then you start to first of all create the platform and then convincing people, oh, you can come, we can do this. They don't even believe in themselves.
Blessing.
Are you getting me?
Blessing.
So that's
wait,
the difficult
We're
thing
trying
of
to
our
help
community.
you now. We're trying to help you. We hear you.
Yes,
We
sir.
hear you. We
So
hear
we
you.
need to wake up and start from how little that we
trying to
know.
help you now. Stop
Okay.
it.
No,
Let me give
it's not easy.
So
That's
blessing.
what I
Your
know.
question has been answered.
Blessing, women.
Okay, you get me. I just want to pass the message, right?
Blessing.
So now we are at the edge of
Blessing. We may just have a blessing right now.
Yeah. So you see?
What you have here right now is probably about 20 like-minded people that really ever come together in this kind of space. Because I'm getting motivated by hearing it, and I didn't realize that was that gap.
Go, counselor.
So let's let's plan something, a community building meeting. Nothing huge. You have the contact of everybody here. Let's come back together in this space.
I think you.
It's not gonna be no TV on. It's just.
No, we should get it on.
I'm coming for you.
I'm
coming
open
arms.
This
is where we're in right now.
You have the contact of everybody.
Now I like the tone of
You outlined to us what the vision plan is, the challenges and stuff like that, and I'm positive that we can help to make things better.
And what the black people
Because
council
the people in this room is literally built of that kind of fabric to intervene and try to build a community. But if it's really, if you don't know, if it's
But it can't be closed doors though.
No.
That's the thing.
Yeah, we
Right?
invite them.
We have, you know what I'm saying? We have 3 closed door meetings. Like this right here, we have this footage. This needs to go out.
If you feel that's a way to
gotta
do
get it out.
I was just kind of thinking more as a strategy
So
meeting.
we're gonna set that up now.
Okay, so-
Are we ready?
Hold on a second. Hold on. I know, Dora, I need it. I need it louder, all right? No, because I